What's up, YouTube? This is me, Agent Dave, aka Fanatical for Jesus, aka Don Way, aka David Chu. I'm just coming to you real quick to make a video about two topics that I recently came across, and I don't know if you guys ever heard of the YouTube channel Jubilee. They do like these middle ground videos where they take like two opposing viewpoints and try and see if the people can agree on some sort of middle ground. Well, this topic that they did was about, do all mentally ill people think the same? And it was pretty interesting to see the diverse answers that many of them gave. And I just want to talk about two of the topics that were raised in the discussion. One topic was, are people surprised? This topic that they had to choose to disagree or agree with was, people are often surprised when they find out that I have a mental illness. Another topic was, are psychiatrists trustworthy? And I'll talk about the first topic first. Yes, people are often surprised when they find out that I have this mental illness. Because when I'm on that medication, I'm being properly medicated. I seem perfectly fine. I can work fine. I can hang out with people, socialize, and I come across as very stable, when I'm being properly medicated, and um, like yeah, I remember before I was diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder, I was diagnosed with bipolar 1, and and whenever I told people that I had bipolar disorder, they used to always be surprised. They're like, "Oh, really? You seem so well put together." One person even told me that maybe I grew out of my mental illness, and I didn't really take offense. At the time, I took offense to that because I was like, "How do you grow out of a mental illness?" But as I got older, I realized people are just ignorant about mental illness. I'm not saying people are ignorant about everything. I'm just saying they're ignorant about mental illness, and I think that people, um, as they become more educated, then they realize, okay, there's no cure for mental illness. This is a lifelong illness, and like people need to understand that. Like, um, but yeah, so people are often surprised when I tell them I have a mental illness, because when I'm properly medicated, people can't really tell the difference. And after I was diagnosed with schizoaffective disorder, um, I tell people that that's on the high end of the schizophrenia spectrum. People are really surprised by that because they don't see me going around talking to myself constantly and seeing things that aren't there, like and it's like, yeah, you see how I am because of the medication, but but that's not how I am when I don't take my medication. Like, when I don't take my medication, I go off the rocker. My moods will swing all over the place. I'll have psychosis. I'm out of my mind when I don't take my medication. And it's just hard because when they see how stable you are on your medication, it's hard for them to see your disability, and they think that you're just making it up, or you're just being lazy or whatever. Like, because they don't see what you struggle with on a day-to-day basis. Or they don't see how you are when you forget to take a dose of your medication. They don't see these things. They just see you. They see the well put together self that you are when you're on medication, and they're like, "Oh, he's a perfectly fine. There's nothing wrong with him." And it's like, no, like you don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, I wish people would become more educated about mental illness. And I think other people are doing a good job in raising awareness of mental illness. And I think there needs to be more people out there raising awareness for mental illness and educating people on mental illness, so that the stigma dies down and people become more educated. Anyway, so the next topic I wanted to talk about was, are psychiatrists trustworthy? Now, I understand this is a hot button topic. Like, I completely get it. Like, yes, let me grant that there's people that are overly medicated in this country. Like, I mean, I knew someone at one time who was taking a medication for anger, like, which made no sense to me. But if the psychiatrist decided it was best to put them on a medication for anger, then that's the psychiatrist knows more than I do. And that's the thing, like psychiatrists, they went to school to learn about mental illnesses and learn how to treat mental illnesses. They know more about mental illnesses than we do. That's why, and and honestly, they want the best for their patients. Like, as hard as that may, as hard as that may be, blah, 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 as hard as that is for some to believe, like, they do. They want the best. They seek the best interest for their clients. And, like, yeah, you could say, oh, well, it's a conflict of interest because psychiatrists don't want mentally ill people to get better because then they lose their clientele if they get better. Well, first off, get that out of your head that there's a cure for mental illness. There is no cure for mental illness. I'll say it again. There is no cure for mental illness. The only thing we can hope for is to get on the right medication and to get on the right medication and but medication isn't the only thing we should seek after. We should also go to therapy and group therapy, like, because the medication only takes care of like maybe like 50% of the mental illness. You still need therapy, like whether you want to, if you don't want to go to group therapy, fine, but at least go to individual therapy, and that'll take care of the other 50% of the issue. But like, don't just think you could just take medication and be just fine. Like, um, but yeah, like I've heard people try and raise that issue to me, saying, "Oh, it's a conflict of interest for people for mental illness people to see a psychiatrist because a psychiatrist doesn't want the mentally ill person to get better because then they lose their money." And that's like that. That is as absurd as saying a doctor who specializes in treating diabetes doesn't really want diabetes, doesn't really want their client to get better of diabetes because then they lose money from their patient who has diabetes. But yeah, so like it's just ridiculous. It's just like no one would make that argument. Like people understand that doctors who treat diabetes really do want to see their patients function fine in today's world. Even though they operate under the assumption that their patient will never get better from their diabetes. Like, but they still help them out and like prescribe insulin for them. They do other stuff to help them be able to function a normal life in our world. But like for some reason, when it comes to the same case with mentally ill patients, people automatically think that mental illness can be cured, and therefore, if psychiatrists aren't working to cure mental illness, then they must be some kind of what's the word? They must be some kind of like there must be like some kind of conspiracy to keep the mentally ill person dependent on the psychiatrist so the psychiatrist can keep on taking money from them. That's not the case. Like you shouldn't just think that psychiatrists, I mean, yeah, sure, there might be some psychiatrists that are in it for the money, but the vast majority of psychiatrists out there truly do care about their patients, and like it, and then like you could say like, oh well, psychiatrists could put them on medication, but that doesn't mean that it's gonna help. Yeah, okay, you might have to try many different types of medications. I know I have. I've been on so many different medications that like I don't like if I had a penny for every different type of medication that I've ever been on, I would be a millionaire today. But it took a bunch of trial and error to finally find the right medication for me to take. and now I'm stable. And then, like that. So if you're a mentally ill person and you're getting frustrated because the process is taking forever, ask yourself why. What can you do to help your psychiatrist find the right medication for you? Because what I've noticed a lot of times, and I'm guilty of this too, we don't always tell our psychiatrists everything that is going on because we're ashamed or we're scared to think like or whatever. Like, but I'm telling you, if you tell your psychiatrist exactly what it is that you're experiencing and what it is that you're dealing with, just be completely honest with them. Because guess what? Psychiatrists are not mind readers. They can't read our minds and figure out exactly what's wrong with us and give us the right medication right away. We have to speak up. We have to speak up for ourselves. We have to say exactly what we want to see done. Like, I mean, like for instance, for the longest time, I held in the fact that I get these thoughts sometimes, like when I'm in church or like when I'm reading the Bible or whatever. I've been getting these thoughts since I was like 17, 16 or 17 about me being God. And like they used to bother me, but you know what? I didn't tell any psychiatrist, I didn't tell anybody about these thoughts until just recently. And when I told my psychiatrist about these thoughts, he didn't judge me. He told me what they were. He said that they were religious delusions of grandeur, and he prescribed me a new medication to help with those. Now, is the medication helping with my thoughts? Well, for the most part, but like I still get them, like, but they're not as intense, and so so I see that as a win for the medication. Like they're not as intense. I can I can ignore them, but but yeah, like so just be completely open and honest with your psychiatrist, and if he or she is as good as they should be, then they will. If you're open up to them, then they will know what to do to help you out. Like it may take a couple tries, but eventually, if you don't give up, you keep working with them, they will find the right medication for you that will help you. Now, people try to say, "Oh well, the population is overly medicated, and we shouldn't be looking to medication to stabilize us." Okay, that's like saying, "Oh, the population is overly medicated with insulin, so we shouldn't use insulin to help diabetics." It's ridiculous when you turn it around like that. It sounds ridiculous, but that's just because the country is overly medicated doesn't mean that the medicine doesn't help people with mental illness. So it's actually a fallacy to say that medication just because medication people are since the population is overly medicated that we shouldn't use medication to treat mental illness. That's a fallacy, and like it's just ridiculous. Like medication is there to help people with mental illness. If you have a mental illness, then you should take medication. But yeah. So I hope this video helps you guys. Like, I mean, psychiatrists are trustworthy, but they're not mind readers, and you should just be open and honest with your psychiatrist. And if they're not a good psychiatrist, then you need to like get rid of them and find a new psychiatrist. If they don't work with you or they ignore, like for instance, I had a psychiatrist one time. And I thought she was pretty cool. Like I wanted to keep her because she was a Korean woman, but like, and she was like the first Asian woman I had as a psychiatrist. But she told me that she was a minimalist when it comes to medication. So I was like, nope, I can't deal with that because I need like a strong cocktail of medication to keep me sane. So I requested at my mental health clinic, I requested a new psychiatrist, and they gave me a new psychiatrist. And like eventually, like I got hooked up with the right psychiatrist, and now everything is good. Like I feel like I'm stable minded, and I feel like I could do things. I could take care of myself, and I can live every day without having to worry about um going out of my mind or whatever. But yeah, anyways, I talked about this long enough. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. I'd like to hear what your guys' comments are about these two topics that I've talked about today. I just want to open the doors. If you have mental illness, feel free to comment below and say what you think about what I talked about. And as always, don't forget to rate and subscribe. Alright, God bless you, and deuces.